In a world where celebrity families are often treated like untouchable fairy tales, it only takes one quiet crack for reality to come rushing in. And lately, all eyes have turned toward one of the most iconic families of our time, the Beckhams. Not because of a scandal, not because of betrayal, but because of something far more relatable and far more human. A complicated family moment between parents and their grown child. At the center of this conversation is a man known worldwide for his fiery temper, sharp tongue, and perfectionist standards. But this time, Gordon isn't shouting across a kitchen or slamming plates. He's speaking softly, thoughtfully, like a father, like a friend, like someone who has seen enough of life to know that family matters are never black and white. Gordon Ramsay has been close friends with and for decades. Their friendship goes far beyond red carpets and dinner parties. It's built on shared values, mutual respect, and years of watching each other grow, not just professionally, but personally, as parents raising children under relentless public scrutiny. So when reports began circulating about a possible rift between David and Victoria and their eldest son, Gordon's reaction wasn't one of gossip or judgment. It was concern. Because when you've known a family for that long, you don't see headlines, you see history. Brooklyn Beckham grew up in a world most people can't imagine. Cameras followed his first steps, his teenage years, his experiments with identity, and his search for purpose. Like many young adults, Brooklyn tried his hand at different passions: photography, cooking, creative ventures, each one dissected publicly, often unfairly. And now, as a married man building a life with his wife, Brooklyn is standing at a crossroads many young people face: how to be independent without losing connection to where you came from. Gordon Ramsay, speaking in a February interview, addressed this delicate situation not as a commentator, but as someone who understands both sides. He spoke openly about how hard it has been to watch the situation unfold. Not because of drama, but because he has seen firsthand what kind of parents David and Victoria are. According to Gordon, the bond between the Beckhams and their children has always been strong. He described David and Victoria as deeply involved, loving, and present parents, people who put family above fame, even when the world expected otherwise. To Gordon, seeing even a hint of distance between them and Brooklyn is painful, because he knows the foundation that was built over decades. What made Gordon's words resonate so strongly was the way he framed his advice. He didn't dismiss Brooklyn's need for independence. In fact, he acknowledged it fully. He respected Brooklyn's desire to stand on his own 2 feet, to define himself outside his parents' shadow, to build a life that feels authentic and earned. But Gordon also offered a reminder, one that struck a nerve with parents and children alike. He urged Brooklyn to take a moment, just a moment, to pause, to reflect, to remember that he is half his mother and half his father, that everything he is today is shaped, in some way, by the sacrifices they made long before he could understand them. Gordon spoke about how parents give in ways that often go unseen, not just financially but emotionally. The sleepless nights, the worry, the constant balancing act between protecting a child and letting them go. According to Gordon, David and Victoria have done more for Brooklyn than anyone else ever will, and that truth doesn't disappear just because adulthood begins. As a father himself, Gordon knows that family relationships evolve. Children grow up. They fall in love. They form new priorities. They naturally pull away. That shift doesn't mean love disappears, it just changes shape. But when communication falters during that shift, misunderstandings can grow. Gordon emphasized that situations like this are rarely about one argument or one decision. They are about timing, emotions, and expectations colliding all at once. He acknowledged that it's easy, especially when you're young and confident, to get carried away by independence and pride. But pride, he warned, can sometimes delay healing. What stood out most was Gordon's belief that time, not pressure, is the best healer. Not forced conversations. Not public statements. Just time, paired with reflection and humility. Time to cool emotions. Time to see things from another perspective. Time to realize what truly matters. He also revealed that he has stayed in touch with Brooklyn during this period. Not as an authority figure. Not as a mediator. Just as someone offering support. Gordon described the situation as very difficult, emotionally complex, and deeply personal. His tone made it clear that there are no villains here, only people navigating change. And then came the line that lingered longest. Gordon reminded Brooklyn that one day, his parents won't be there. Not as a threat. Not as guilt. But as reality. It's the kind of truth that often gets ignored in youth, but hits harder with age. Parents feel permanent until suddenly they're not. Gordon's message wasn't about control or obedience. It was about gratitude. About understanding that independence doesn't require emotional distance. The public response to Gordon's comments was immediate and intense. Some praised him for speaking with wisdom and compassion. Others felt their advice leaned too heavily toward parental expectations. But many people saw themselves in the story, either as parents watching their children drift or as children trying to breathe on their own. What's important to remember is that the Beckhams have never confirmed a dramatic fallout. There have been no explosive interviews, no social media attacks, no public accusations. Only subtle signs, missed events, quieter interactions that fans and media have tried to interpret. And perhaps that's the most telling part of all. Not every family struggle needs to be loud to be real. Not every disagreement needs to be permanent to be painful. Sometimes, the most significant moments in a family's life happen quietly, away from cameras, in conversations we'll never hear. David and Victoria Beckham continue to show love for their son in subtle ways. Brooklyn continues to build his life with Nicola, navigating adulthood under a microscope few could survive. And Gordon Ramsay continues to stand where good friends often do, in the middle, offering perspective without taking sides. In a media landscape obsessed with conflict, this story feels different. It doesn't explode. It breathes. It reminds us that behind the fame, behind the fashion, behind the football legacy, there's a family trying to figure things out, just like everyone else. It's a reminder that love doesn't disappear when families struggle. Sometimes it's simply tested. And maybe that's why Gordon Ramsay's words matter so much. Because they don't come from a place of spectacle. They come from a place of experience, of fatherhood, of friendship, of understanding that life is long, emotions are complicated, and relationships are worth protecting. In the end, this isn't a story about drama. It's a story about growth, about distance, about connection, and about the quiet hope that time, patience, and love will do what arguments never can. Because roots don't hold you back, they hold you up. And no matter how far you go, remembering where you came from might be the most important step of all. If this story made you pause, reflect, or see your own family in a new light, stay with us. These aren't just celebrity headlines, they're real human moments playing out under a spotlight. Follow for more deeply told stories, honest narration, and celebrity news that goes beyond the surface. Like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the stories that actually matter.